Good afternoon. This is Oliver Slow, Blue Line Futures, coming to you from the Chicago Board of Trade with another episode of the 2-Minute Drill. Today is Monday, October 14th. Before we get into the markets, I do want to remind you, if you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, we'd love the support. Head over to youtube.com, type in Blue Line Futures, hit that subscribe button, and be sure to turn on those notifications. My partners and I put out a lot of great daily content, not just in the agricultural space, but energies, precious metals, stock indices, you name it, got it covered. So again, we appreciate the support. Head over to YouTube, subscribe to Blue Line Futures for your daily commodity commentary. Now that we got that out of the way, we can go ahead and get into today's closing prices and price action. We had December corn futures. They were down 7.5 cents to 408.25. And as you can see here, we broke and closed below support, which accelerated the selling pressure. And if the bulls can't really find their momentum here through midweek, it opens the door for a retest of the low end of the range, which comes in near that psychologically significant $4 handle. And as you can see, it's not just psychologically significant, it's also technically significant here. Now, we do have crop progress after the close. I don't expect that to have a whole lot in it to move the needle for really any of the grain markets, as most of the markets move past U.S. Production numbers and they're focused on other things such as South American weather and planting. So that's going to be the key catalyst, money flow in South America. You might get some choppiness with the election looming as well. So that's where we stand on the corn market. For soybeans, we're 9.5 cents lower for that November contract and just continued to bleed lower, closing below that psychologically significant $10 handle. 9.96 was the settlement there, which is at one of our support pockets that we outlined in this morning's Grain Express. If we cannot find our footing through tomorrow's trade, it really keeps the door open for a potential retest. These contract lows down here, which come in closer to 960, 955. So if we can't get something going tomorrow, expect the selling pressure to continue, especially if South America continues to get good rains and ideal growing conditions. And as mentioned in our Ag Day interview last week with Michelle Rook, the election is also around the corner, and we've started to see some trend change there, where it was a neck-and-neck 50-50 toss-up. Is starting to trend a little bit more favorably in Trump, which puts tariffs back on the table. The other thing to keep in mind with these grain markets, the big concern over the summer months was the risk of a short covering rally. That was met by a lot of producers selling. That short covering rally did take place. However, now funds are basically neutral, corn and soybeans. So if there is no bullish catalyst to get them excited about being long the grain markets, they now have powder to add to the shorts, which again could be the catalyst to take us back towards those lows. I'm a little bit more concerned about soybeans here than corn. I think corn's got a pretty good fundamental backdrop with ethanol and demand. Soybeans with a big balance sheet that we saw on Friday and potentially a good crop down in South America, that could potentially be a headwind going forward. Now, wrapping things up with the wheat market, we've been optimistic on the wheat market, but today really started to change that tune. Today we saw December wheat futures down 13.75 cents to 5.8525. We broke and closed below trend line support, and that really doesn't feel good. And you've got the dollar continuing to surge higher as well, which could be an additional headwind with this technical breakdown. Seasonally, you start to get in the back half of October. That can be a weaker time of the year for December futures as well, as we see this December contract kind of drift lower into contract expiration. So we've been optimistic on wheat, but today's break and close below trendline support, coupled with an upcoming bearish seasonally time of year, although seasonals are not guaranteed, has neutralized our optimism and potentially looking at some short exposure for clients who want that downside play into the end of the year. So that's what we're looking at. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out. This is my direct line, 312-837-3938, or you can email oliver@bluelinefutures.com. Remember, trading futures and options involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors.